shows are individually owned and opinions expressed may not reflect others. Welcome to the Edventures in Tech podcast, talking the latest tips and trends in educational technology to innovate and engage your students. Here are your hosts, Andrew and Dan.
Oh, back in better, episode 65, literally shaking the rust off, Dan. Shaking the rust off.
You better get shaken.
I got to get shaken. This is Adventures in Tech. We are super excited you have joined us along this adventure. Of course, if you like the content, you like us, please help out by providing feedback and a rating on wherever you download your podcast from. We greatly appreciate your support. Dan, lots going on. Kick off to the new school year. What's going on, Dan? Let's talk. There's no Pipcorn here today. We're going way back there.
Going way back. I don't know. There's always a lot going on in the start of a school year. At least we're not introducing 3 new management systems
tech
tools. But things are busy. I think a lot of things are really ramping up in terms of the professional development we're offering, the different opportunities that are out there for both our teachers and students. I think a lot of people are really tuned in to being a little more progressive and dynamic in their instruction and looking for alternatives. Big pushes forward when it comes to working with English language learners and our E&L community.
Yeah, we'll definitely get to that at some point.
So we'll get to that at some point. We can tease that a little bit now, I guess.
Absolutely.
And, just the same old classroom support and keeping things busy.
Yeah, and there's a lot of updates, and we try to make sure we keep you abreast on all of them very rapidly, and we know that there's so many updates that come out, August through September, and, so Dan and I comb through them and say what's the most relevant, because every product, every tech website, tool, etc., they always are pushing their updates, out for the new school year, and to actually make sure that we get all of them, vetted, so to speak. We want to make sure we give you the most relevant information. Now, what we can say is there is some exciting news coming out. Let's talk about conferences. So the first one is the Hudson Valley NYSCATE Conference that we held at Royce C. Ketchum High School on November 4th, I believe, right?
That's it.
Right? So that's going to be a exciting conference for all the locals throughout the Hudson Valley. Whether you're, there's a lot of people, because NYSCATE sponsors it from the northern tier, southern tier, but a lot of people all over New York will be coming, and it's a new regional PD day, so lots going on there. We also have the annual NYSCATE conference, which will be up in Verona, New York, and we'll be talking to you then, and that's at the Turning Stone. I don't know the dates off the top of my head. Right before Thanksgiving.
Right before Thanksgiving.
So we'll make sure we get the actual dates for you, but mid to late November that'll be having. And then there is FETC, the Future of Educational Technology Conference. That is happening in January. And there are some tech companies that are sponsoring their own conferences as well. And then ISTE will be hitting up at the end of May, or end of June, I should say, in 2026. So what else? Any other news you got going on, Dan?
No, let's jump right into some of our weekly wind-up and some of the updates. There's a big list. That might be all we get to today.
I think that may be all we get to. But I figured, you know what, it's going to be heavy in that regard, so we might as well make sure we hit it up the right way. So if you have gone into your Google Drive lately, you are now starting to see file summaries on the homepage in Google Drive. And what that is it's all because of Gemini. So if you haven't really messed with Gemini, and that's another episode, right, Dan? So,
right.
It's going to give you your suggested files. It's the AI working at its finest to see what files you open most often, what are your go-tos, and it's all going to be surfaced on the homepage in Google Drive. It'll show the summaries with doc sheets, slides, PDFs in your suggested file list. You'll be able to click See More and hover to view a more in-depth analysis, or Gemini, which is a Google for education workspace product, you can definitely ask up for file questions in the side panel.
I've definitely found it pretty handy. Gemini has been launched all throughout our workspaces, as you've probably noticed, and seeing those summaries and being able to interact with the documents that I'm working on in real time with the Gemini has proved to be quite an addition to my workflow.
Yeah, and we're going to, we'll delve deep into Gemini overall in another episode to talk about, how the shift in the paradigm of AI has really impacted education. Next up on the news, this is going to be an episode on itself at one point. However, what was it? We always used Flippity, right?
Flippity.
Right? We always used Flippity. So another Google Workspace update is educators and students can now create flashcards, quizzes, and new reports in Notebook LM. So if you're not familiar with Notebook LM, jot it down, please. Google it, and it'll go to the home screen, hit Try Notebook LM, and you'll be able to really start to play around. So what Notebook LM is, it's very similar to a collection of notebooks, but they're all digital, and you can turn your documents or anything you put in there into interactive flashcards and quizzes. It'll create personalized study sessions, right? So if certain students need specific vocabulary to work on, so you think of differentiated instruction, definitely going to help. It generates these things in seconds, and it's grounded in all of your materials. It's not pulling from the web. So it's whatever you input, it's going to help produce the output. So whether you're prepping for exams, mastering new skills, you can share this very easily with a simple link.
And I think that you brought up the important thing. Notebook LM, so one, it is part of our Google platform now, so it's perfectly acceptable for students to be able to access and work within this tool. And you do point out that it's just based off of the sources that you put in there.
That's the key.
So I think we're going to have to do a whole episode on Notebook LM, but it really is a great way of teaching your students some self-reliance, some good study habits, and really how to collect and work with information and resources that they have all in one place.
Yeah, and if you're not seeing Notebook LM, they EdLaw 2D, COPA, FERPA, they are compliant, right? Because it is underneath the Google Workspace for Education platform, but it does have to be turned on if it's enabled by your Google admin. So if you're not sure, ask your tech directors or whoever the compliance officer is in your district. But they are available. And then if for some reason you can't see it, students can't see it, it just has to be in the correct organization unit, OU for short, with Notebook LM set to on, right? So nothing you can control, but people on the back end in your district can certainly help you out to make sure you're able to use it.
I just want to go because we keep talking about Gemini, so here we go. I'm just breaking off the rails already. But Gemini is now also integrated within your Google Classroom. So a lot of times you might be going out to different things. Maybe it's School AI, Magic School, Brisk, all these different tools, which are all great on their own. They all have different strengths and things. But you actually have Gemini embedded right in your Google Classroom, so you can outline lesson plans, generate quizzes, re-level text, create rubrics, discussion prompts, depth of knowledge questions, jigsaw activities, basically all these different AI tools that you've been going out to all these different platforms, you can do right in Gemini. It is a little bit different than what you're probably used to working with, say, Brisk or Magic School.
Right.
But it's definitely worth taking a look at because it's keeping it all in one place.
And the one thing I want to mention just to piggyback is it was at first, I believe it was only 18 plus, right?
Correct.
And now it is available to everybody. So students under 18. So if you tried using or playing around with sandboxing before, you may not have been able to because of the age restriction. But now because, things have changed and Google has updated policies, it is for all users in their educational accounts. Remember, that is a key component to make sure they are in their educational accounts. That way we know it's a controlled, safe environment for your students. So let's talk Google Vids, right? Because, this, I feel like sometimes this just flies under the radar and people aren't really understanding what it is. And the big thing that we heard, what was it, in March last year? Oh my gosh, YouTube's gone. Mm-hmm. And it's not gone. It's just these are the rules. We got to follow the rules as educators. And it's to get rid of the targeted ads and other things for students. There are still ways, obviously, to embed and use Google videos, in your classroom. If you're not sure how to do that, ask your students because I'm sure they're embedding them in slide decks for what they want to do.
That's true.
All right. But in general, you can still use YouTube in a controlled environment, let's say, whether it be slides or directly through Google Classroom. But Google Vids is something that really empowers educators and students to create and collaborate with video. And we, make sure it's for Education Plus customers, so you have to be subscribed, right? But it will definitely help your students and it'll let you provide those deep learning opportunities level up instruction, and inspire students in a storytelling manner with, a variety of scenarios. So just to give like 3 examples that Google has actually said is you can support diverse learning styles, help students retain information with instructional videos and deep dives on complex concepts. Sounds like Screencastify.
A little bit, yeah.
Right? Students can work on video projects and review recorded lessons. Well, again, Screencastify, but students can also create their own, right? So think Flipgrid/flip/gone. That is something that'll be useful. And of course, if you want to incorporate videos into your school newsletters and create internal training videos, it is integrated with all the Google Workspace tools with Classroom, and it allows you to assign those video projects and post video explains right to their students. So it's taking Explain Everything, it's taking Screencastify, it's taking Loom, it's taking all of these video platforms, and it's just saying, we got you. Google says we got you.
Well, the one thing that at Google Vids that makes it different from the other ones, so, all these other platforms do serve their purpose. So it's for something when you're looking for, that screencast video and to do multiple different views on it, whether it's a slide deck bouncing around, showing everything, leading a short asynchronous lesson, Screencastify is probably the way to go.
Agreed.
For that. If you're collecting student responses in a video format, like you would with Flipgrid, Screencastify Submit is probably the way to go for that because it organizes it. It does it really well. However, Google Vids separates itself because it's a video creation and editing app.
No more WeVideo.
No more WeVideo. No more of those third-party tools when you want students to have to create and put together a video. They build it just like they're building in Google Slides, and it has all the transitions and the editing features right in there. It's also AI-powered, so the video creation and the editing app in Google Workspace definitely will help students create things. It'll do text to video. You can create AI avatars. It'll do text to speech. There's a scene-based editor, which is really cool. So when they're editing, it's like they're editing in Google Slides.
Right, which is kind of native for their language, right? Mm-hmm. So definitely going to help out. If you haven't checked it out, please do. Remember, you do have to have a paid version at this time, but that could quickly shift, just like the age did for Gemini. Want to touch base real quick on Canva. Canva, pretty much Dan and I attended some trainings just to see. Everybody loves Canva. Canva's free education tools are definitely helpful, but they will give you a ton of a plethora of lesson ideas and templates, and they're ready-made. So what I feel like they are kind of doing is taking over TPT. Right?
Wow, yeah.
To a degree.
I
know it's different, but there are a lot of hands-on tools. They have the magic activities, and they're all safe. They have age-appropriate AI. The one thing is, do get the Canva agreement for anyone under the age of 13. Definitely, signed by a parent or guardian at home. But if you have not looked at Canva recently, I implore you to go back and check to see some of the things that they have done. We could post a link, whether you want to use their resources and lessons pre-made or their attendance trackers and rubrics in Canvas sheets, right? The Magic Write, I remember they had, that generates those lesson ideas, the Magic Studio. Of course, the videos and slides are there. And they do have the offline component too now, which is great. So if you have not checked it out lately, definitely give Canva a whirl if you haven't looked at it since you've returned. So moving right along, right? You have anything else for Canva, Dan?
No, I think I'm good with Canva.
Okay. So we're going to go back into the world of Google. I wanted to give you a little breath of fresh air there. But
Are you going to drop some gems on us?
Yeah, the gems is where we're going to go next, So real clever name here is, Gems in Gemini. Right? Google Gems in Gemini. And what that is doing is basically embedding the AI component and almost like a tutor. Right?
It's a custom chatbot.
Without having to really set it up too much.
Right. So for those of you that are familiar, maybe using the Brisk Tutor And
School AI, Magic School.
Magic School, School AI, that you can create these chatbots. Gemini offers the same thing. It's gems. You can, just like it's similar to Notebook LM to a degree. And you can upload your source material that you'd like the AI to be pulling from in order to create a chatbot or a tutor or a brainstorming partner or whatever you would like to do, just like you would do in Brisk or School AI. But they call it gems. And you can give it specific instructions. If you know, and say, if you don't know the answer, ask your teacher. You can really customize it and put it in there, and it's really a nice interface, just like when you're working anywhere else in Google.
I guess the one thing I would say is, and how it's a bit different from Notebook LM, is it's more of a conversation with the chatbot. So this is the chatbot component. Well, Notebook LM is really just, it can share information, it can provide you different opportunities, but you're not going to be chatting back and forth a ton with it.
But you could. There is chat in Notebook LM too. So I know, I'm just going to say there's things that I put together, and sometimes I find that gems work better. Sometimes I find that a Notebook LM chat would work better.
It's all about workflow.
Right.
It's all about workflow. So going right along with Gemini, right? Gemini in Meet is coming, right? And you can ask Gemini in Meet if you're still having Google meetings, which you may, and it may be useful, especially if you're trying to document meetings. There was always those third-party ones, whether it be, what was it, Dan? Otter AI, right? Otter was one. There a lot of those add-ons where it would automatically record and transcribe whatever is in Google Meet. But Gemini in Meet now will summarize the discussions, give a recap of what someone said. It'll identify key takeaways, decisions. It'll give you action items that were spoken about, and you can catch up on what you missed if you joined late, if Take Notes for Me was enabled, which is a new feature as well. So they are really taking their AI component with Gemini and embedding it into everything Google does.
Everything, too. As we build along, there's one of the components of Google Classroom that I think is underutilized, which is the read-along feature. For those of you that have used it, or for those of you, I should say, that are not familiar with it, basically with read along, you can upload your own content, upload your own things, and have a reading activity to do with your students. Where they'd go through, they'd read along, there'd be a read aloud for it, and there'd be some comprehension and some questions to go along with it. It's really a neat little product that Google has wrapped up in their Google Classroom. But now Gemini has been rolled in, so you can use Gemini to create your own stories and read along in Classroom. So you can already upload your own content into read along, but now you can use Gemini AI to create your own stories. So that could help further customize your students' experience and differentiate their instruction, because you can generate content specific to students' needs. You can, say, I need it at this reading level. You can take something like, if you're teaching a science concept and you want to put it into a story form, you can use that AI to create a story around a concept and adjust the reading level and deliver a read-along activity to your students.
Yeah, so I know we're hitting hard with what Gemini and how much Google has updated. Sorry, Microsoft districts. Us, Dan and myself, we are very involved with the Google Workspace for Education, and they keep making much more of an impact and improvements to Gemini, Gems, Notebook LM, right? One of the latest updates just a few days ago was now users of all ages can now use the video overviews in Notebook LMs, right? So you basically, again, you put your content in and it stays there. It stays there. So it's not like you have to keep re-upping. You can add to things as needed.
I feel this is turning into a Notebook LM conversation.
Kind of is.
But it's something we'll delve deep on. But I really suggest you get into it and look around and start seeing what you can create off of materials that you put into. So if you're really looking at creating instructional opportunities for all learners, especially in the model of UDL, Universal Design for Learning, you're able to have significant outputs that are going to help all learners.
Right.
Andrew was talking about video overviews. You can have audio podcast overviews. It'll do graphic organizers, mind maps, all this based on the content that you're putting in there. So when we're really looking at students having some ownership over their learning, but also creating a diverse set of resources that are accessible and I will say, and I'm not going to say this lightly, but also equitable,
right?
To all of your learners. Notebook LM it can really do that for you.
Yeah, and what Dan's really talking about is those document slides, charts, YouTube videos, links, class notes, whatever it may be, you put them in there, and now it'll give you an explainer video that you don't have to create, right? Narrated by an AI voice. And it's not like a robot voice. I know we've been used to that. It literally sounds like a real individual. It's pretty wild.
And what's cool is you can work with Notebook LM in two ways. So as a teacher, you can create the notebooks, put in your slide decks, your videos, your resources, your links, and it accepts any file format.
Right.
And then create the output materials for your students. So whether it's the video overview, the audio overview, the frequently asked questions, the study guide, the flashcards, all that, you can create them for your students. Or you can empower your students to create their own notebooks by putting in their own content and then learning to
talk about powerful learning.
It is a powerful learning opportunity. I remember when I was in like junior high, this is way back, so we're talking mid 80s.
Don't date yourself, Dan.
Early mid 80s over here. Like we had a class called like Study Skills and Strategies. Did you have to take that?
Nope.
No,
I'm younger.
Not by that much. But it was like teaching us all these different techniques on how to study. We don't want to replace good old-fashioned habits, but, we are in a digital age right now, and being able to, like, reinforce those habits in a digital platform, which is where everything is accessed
the
now.
Ecosystem is
It's just, but the fundamentals behind it are still pretty strong, so...
Right, and something that, and I'm not going to get into the ethics of AI in the use right now. Because
we have to separate ourselves from that because it's a conversation for something else, but the fact of the matter is AI has emerged into all the different platforms. It's part of the ecosystem everywhere. I have to separate my own personal feelings, which vary. I'm not going to do here.
Right.
But the fact is, it's there. It's part of a digital literacy right now,
right?
And we have to address it as an educator.
Absolutely, and the big thing from an educational standpoint, the ethical question, Notebook LM is covered under the Google Workspace for Education Terms of Service for all users, and it does have enterprise-grade data protection, meaning your data is not human-reviewed or otherwise used to train AI models. Mm-hmm. So it is in a safe space. Otherwise, they would not be letting students use it. So just know that component of it. Again, we're not getting into the ethical question of it like Dan had just mentioned. But know that whatever you're doing for your students, is in a safe space overall. So
and the one thing about this is it's not your Chat GPT type chatbot conversation that you're going. Right. It's not going to write an essay for them. It's not going to do that. It's only going to serve to reinforce what you have loaded in as sources.
Exactly. All right, so we are getting close to wrapping up. We will be actually spoke to our good old friend from Ditch That Textbook, Matt Miller, recently, and we're definitely going to catch up with Matt soon on a future episode. But it's always good to hear perspective, because Matt is all over the country and the world and seeing education from almost a 30,000-foot view. One thing that he recently just shared with Dan and myself was 6 ways to prepare students for an AI future. So AI, as we know, is developing quite rapidly. It's poised to make significant changes to the world and the workforce that we know. So no matter what comes the way, we can still prepare students to adapt to it just like we always have. So 6 shifts that you can kind of consider making in your classroom right away. And if you want to see, this information, you can just go to ditch.link/AI skills. But number 1 is focus on why over what, right? So what lesson does this teach us that can inform our lives? In light of what we've learned, how should we live our own lives?
I think there's something we've stressed all over and over again is focus on process over product. I mean, how we arrive at an answer can tell us more about what we've learned about that answer itself.
1,000%. And something that we want all of our students to be able to do is emphasizing problem-solving skills. So when students get to practice at the steps to solving those complex problems, it's going to prepare them for it in the future.
I know we said we're not going to get into it, but I think it's also that we discuss the ethics of actions. when we're preparing students for an AI future. What is right? What is wrong? How do we know? Whose definition of right and wrong should guide our decisions? So if we talk about ethics and AI and the usefulness and when it's appropriate and when it's not, a lot of that's going to come down to our personal choice within individuals.
Right.
But I think in general, when we look at evaluating any kind of information or source out there, there are certain protocols that we should go through, and that questioning should still exist when we're looking at AI, because it might not be reliable. It's not your voice. It's not your vision.
Right.
It's something else. It's, we can work with it. We can create with it. We can build with it. We can use it as a tool. And I think talking about using it as a tool versus a replacement is something that should be discussed.
Yeah, and the one thing I want to just, kind of mention, piggyback before I go to the next component is, with whatever we're saying, please do check with your district Board of Ed policies regarding AI. Most of them, I'm sure, have put something together. If you are unaware of that information, ask technology compliance officers, whoever that may be, to ensure that you're not going to get yourself in any kind of hot water in that regard. So another thing we said is highlight how to become a better learner. So cognitive science tells us how our brain learns best. When we know, we can adapt to any future situation and be flexible. And I think that's huge, because you don't know what's going to be thrown your way any day with these kids. We don't even know some of the jobs that are going to exist for these students.
And I think finally, the 6th point brought up is emphasize collaboration and relationships. So I think that's something we talked about a lot in our podcast. Sure. It's a running theme. We want our students to be creators and not consumers. We want to build those collaborative networks for students and build relationships within the classroom in order to produce authentic outcomes of understanding for students. And I think that's, no matter what our future is, we're all going to have to, be like Sesame Street, Mr. Rogers. We all got to work together and get along. I mean, there's a lot that can be done in isolation, but still we need to have those collaborative skills no matter, what our goals are. Well,
and collaboration has really come back to what it was, because we're now 5 years past the pandemic, believe it or not, and the collaboration component is what makes educators who they are and how they thrive. So I think that's going to wrap up this episode, Dan. A lot of news, a lot of notes. Just want to share all those updates. Any other final thoughts, Dan?
No, it's nice to be back.
Nice to be back. We will make sure we are back and better than ever, wherever you get your podcasts from, very soon. So we thank you for all your support. Listen on those platforms, leaving us those reviews. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions, of course, please reach out. Tech Hard, Work Smart, Live an Adventure.
Find Andrew on all socials at @ANicolaTech and Dan at WCSD Tech DR.